suggestion.
To beer or not to beer, that is the question. Whether 'tis nobler in the mind to suffer the tonics and spritzers of outrageous boredom, or to take arms against a sea of doubles, and by opposing, down them. To drink, sober no more, and by a beer to say we end the sobriety and the 1,000 natural waters that sober is heir to. 'Tis a libation, devoutly to be pissed, to drink, to sleep perchance to snore. Aye, there's the rub, for in that sleep of drink, what mornings may come, when we've an head like 10 bears, must give us pause. There's the respect that makes calamity of so long night.
Beer, not to beer, that is the question. To paint the town red, just an expression. To beer or not to beer, that is the question. Drink like a fish, just a suggestion.
For who would bear the whips and scorns of the morning after, the technicolor yawn, the praying to a porcelain god, the wrath of grapes, the carpenters in the forehead, the high cost of low living, red-eyed and bushy-tongued, crapulence, pole-axed, oiled, dawn-damaged, tenderized, bottle-ached, and as sick as a small hospital. The Irish flu wearing loud shoes, who would not beer, and grunt and sweat under a weary life, but that the dread of something after beer, the hangover country, from whose pains no paracetamol will work, befuddles the will, and makes us rather bear those ills we have, than drink and drink until we know not of. Thus consequence does make cowards of us all.
To beer or not to beer, that is the question. 3 sheets to the wind, just an expression. To beer or not to beer, that is the question. The hair of the dog, just a suggestion.
And thus the native thirst of resolution is sicklied o'er with the pale ale of thought, and enterprises of great pitcher and malt liquor.
I've given my day, he's given his day, I'll drink to that.
With regard to the barman, we turn away and lose the name of action. Soft you now, to be fair, my shout. Beer, in thy froth, be all my sins forgot.
To beer or not to beer, that is the question. As drunk as a lord, just an expression. To beer or not to beer, that is the question. An all-night bender, just a suggestion.
I've given my day,
He's given his day.
I'll drink to that.
Yeah. To beer or not to beer, that is the question. As drunk as a lord, just an expression. To beer or not to beer, that is the question. An all-day bender, just a suggestion.
There's a divinity that shapes our ends. Rough hew them how we will.
Darling, I went to Rada, met all the greats, Gielgud, Burton, Reed. Gravitas. Gravitas, I said. Darling, it's more like falling on your ass. Alas, poor Kilroy. I knew him backwards, Horatio.